Okay guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you a tutorial and a full walkthrough of the BMW program Inpa. Now for this, I do have my icon connected purely because I end up finding that over my cable, so I've just plugged in the icon. You don't need to use an icon for Inpa. Everything will be fine with a cable because this isn't to do with programming or any of your coding or any of the sort. Inpa is basically used to do bidirectional controls on the car, run certain functions, clear certain fault codes, and do run other parameters on the car. So you don't need an icon for it. We are using my E64 today. So because it's an E64, we just need to click down here of E60, which we're going to click F4. Now you can see all the cars it does on the main screen here. So if you have any of these other makes or models, you will have to click the one relevant to your make or model. But obviously, many people are going to say to me, oh, you only have E60. What if I've got an E63 or E64? You click E60. If you've got an E65 or an E66, you click E65. If you've got an E70, you'll click E70. That stays the same even if it's a X6. It will still be an E70. If you've got an E90, you'll do Shift and F2, and you'll see E90 right up here, and that applies for E92, E93, and E91. So you can do everything from that, and so on and so on for the F series. If you've got an F10, it applies to an F11, so on. If you've got an F21, an F20, then it's going to be F25 and an F30, and so on and so on and so on. So we're just going to click E60. We'll just do functional jobs. This comes up right here, language variants do not match, malfunction possible. You click OK, because obviously it's all in German. Got to remember this is engineering software. This is what they use in the factory. When making the BMWs, they made ISTA for dealerships to be able to understand, but this is all in German purely because this is only used in the factories. We'll click OK to that. And if you can see here, we've got all this information laid out in front of us. So we've got information that gives us information about the car. We'll just click on that. And you can see there, everything comes up. Of course, many of you won't understand that because it's in German. You get to see all the information there. Just click F2. It gives us identification. So it reads identification. So on this, what this menu is for is to read all the modules. So you can see they've got different addresses. Now the addresses are very important, especially if you want to use WinKFP to do expert programming. You're going to need to know the address to locate the address of where the module sits on the car. This also gives you the name of the module, which again, this is how you would locate them in WinKFP. They're not going to be specific saying airbag module, ECU control unit, and things like that. It will never give you that. The names you're going to find are under this, which you'll see down here along this long list where my mouse is going. These are the addresses you would need to note down. You can see the job status tells you everything's okay. So if something's offline, not functioning correctly, this will go down. These are the names on the SGBD, so that's the data on the tree on WinKFP. So when the car's built, this is what they call them all, and this is where to look for them. So you've got KGM 60. This will be the module you would look under. MSV 70 is the ECU. EKPM 60, which is the fuel pump module. GS 19, which is the gearbox. So you'd look under that. You would look under all of these on WinKFP to know where they're listed, and you can see they're grouped as well in the right grouping order. You also list a part number here, so this is every one of your part numbers that you will need, and make sure it's correct for your car. And this is the part number you're looking for. Again, WinKFP will give you the part number along with the ZB number, which I'll move on to in a second after this. But this is the ones you need to take very much attention to, is this right here, the SGBD, and the part numbers. The variant doesn't matter at all, variation, nor does a dial, column, and the hardware information. Software numbers are all here. Again, these are relevant to many of you guys. But as you move along, the screen here, you will see all the modules are named. And you can see there, they're all in German, but they're not hard to really make out what they are. DWDA is the siren, car alarm, car access system, audio system controller, iPod interface, telematic control unit, dynamic stability control, cabrio over deck module, so that's for the cabriolet, because obviously it's a soft top. You've got the motor electronic ECU, which is the MSV 70, CCC application, um, everything else in here as well. So the adaptive light control, park assist, everything you need in there. It lists all the modules and it tells you all the makes of them as well, what's in there. Now, if we just go to click F3, ULF, click that, and it will read that field. You can see here, this is all the modules. So you've got CD changer with the ZB number because it's not known because it doesn't need one. It's also got no VIN. Now, this is where you will check where your VIN numbers if they're all matching. Now, you'll probably see that my DSC isn't matching. My CAS module has no VIN either. And also another module here, the PDC has been replaced because the VIN is not matching up to the rest. Now this is my VIN, this is the last 7, this is what you need to enter on WinKFP. So all of them need to be matching. If they're not matching, then you've got a problem. You can also see the ZB numbers. This will let you know if they're on the latest versions. You can check that and cross-reference it against the data and across the data and files when you load them to WinKFP, or you can check it on the coding tool when you update all the data to see if you're on the latest one. If you're not, you can update it now. This one hasn't been updated. You can see here I did update the DME in 2024. That's already been updated. The EGS didn't need touching because it's already on the latest firmware because from 2007. That's when they sent the last software update. The ZB numbers is what you're going to update to, and this will be the last one on the assembly line. That's what ZB stands for, assembly number. And that's your VIN numbers. And like I said, this is very important, the ULF, especially if you're going to use WinKFP. You need to take a screenshot or make sure you remember this, take it on your phone or whatnot, and take it all down because these are the numbers you're going to have to enter when you want to find each module. And then you'll be able to find them on WinKFP before you update it. Now, the next one we're going to go to is F4, which is errors. And if you can see here, you've got all different kind of functions. You've got read error memory, clear error memory, clear information memory, and clear history memory. Now, if we go to read error memory, it will load, it will show us some fault codes here, and you can scroll down, you can see what faults are in each module. It doesn't give a clear example. To get a further clearer example, you would need to go into each module individually to be able to do that. But it's not hard at all. So we'll just quickly show you how to clear them. So you'd press F2 to clear any kind of fault codes. You can clear the information memory. Now you've got functional address, which doesn't do nothing, and you've also got function DTC, which does nothing as well. Now we're going to go back because the next one we're going to be looking at is we're going to go into status. Now status is obviously the programming state, so we can check the programming status and we can check it and everything says okay. So before you program, you can check all the modules are fine to be programmed, tells you if they're normal and everything else, and it tells you which ones need programming. So you can see it says 255 reserved, so and ZBE, so they need the VINs changing because that's why they're saying 255 because they need to be programmed, as you can see there. If we go back to status again, you've got functional address, which you just saw what it does, nothing important. If we go to activate, so if we now click on activate, you can see here we've got sleep mode of power module, energy saving mode, transport mode on or off, sleep mode without power module. So all of that is just put obviously the car into sleep and turn off a module, put it to sleep if you need to, but we're only in ECU. Now I'm going to show you other functions. So we're just going to end this, click E60, and we can go down here and select what we want to do. So this is where we can take over basically one of the modules if we want to. We can go through and just see what we want to select. And you can see here you've got all the different modules here. Telephone module, transmission, for instance, chassis. But obviously we know we've got a GS19, so we'll just load that up. You'll see that again, same message. And you can see here we've got identification, error, status, activate. We're going to activate. You can see here we've got reset adaptation values, EDS, pressure control valve, and solenoid valves. So we can do whatever we want in there, but you have to go into them individually. Again, you have to come end and then select it again, whichever one you want to do. And if whatever we want to do, we can go into body, we can go into car access system, let it load. It'll tell you the same thing again, as it always tells that message. Then you will go into here, click activate, and you can do reset ECU, initialize rear seat entertainment remote control, sync motor ECU, activate IO digital if you really wanted to. So you can reset it and resync the ECU with the CAS. You can do basically whatever you want, and you can see here you can check the status of the ELV, electronic steering lock, status of the RC signal, radio control signal, so your remote control, status internal, analog, and everything else. You just have to click what option you actually want. Um, there is a lot more here. It depends on what modules you've got in the car. But they list quite a few modules which would have been fitted to the E60 and E64. Here's where most of the communication systems are, and it's what most people want to get into. So if we go into the car communication CCC, again, we can get into that. And then we'll just go over here. You can see all the same stuff that pops up: information identification, error memory, read status, and activate. Activate's the one we're always going to go for because it's pointless to go to error memory or identification because we don't need to identify it because we already know where it is and who it is on the car. So we're just going to click activate on this. And you can see that we can do a self-check, system check, update logistic number, create fast boot image, eject the CD, eject the DVD, reset it, or we can just go back. A lot of people end up with problems with their CCC, and if you want to reboot it, you can do it with Inpa. If you need to eject your CD because it's stuck, you can do that through this as well. There's so many things you can do with Inpa. You just have to know how to use it correctly. So if we just go into something different now, I don't know, let's try and find something like the park distance controller, for instance. We'll go into that, and you can see here we can activate, and we can do the PDC activate, and you'll be able to see if it turns on, if the light comes on, it active, if it's not active. The computer knows if it's activated or not activated. What else have we got here? We've got quite a few other things here actually. We can go down, go into central gateway module as well. Got a sunroof module, middle console center switch, rain and light sensor, which again many people want to always do on this. So you can click on that, go into here, go into activate, and you can do RLS initialization, which is what's needed if you have a windscreen replacement or your rain and light sensor goes out of whack where it's not turning on and off at the correct times or at the correct intervals. You can just do that. But many people end up with the daytime running lights on stuck on the RI drive where someone's coded it in. Hence why it's not their RLS is the problem, it's that switched on. So make sure you turn that off. We've got so many different things we can do here, but it's just about knowing what to do. You've got the convertible soft top module. So again, we can activate that. And then we can go to here to activate as well. We'll just go into here, for instance. And you can see there it's all in German. So everything's in German on this one because this one hasn't been properly translated over yet to know which one's what. So yes, you've got the alarm system as well that you can load up right here, and then you can just go into it as well. Activate, LED switch on, and sound the basically a siren as well, which we definitely don't want to sound. Not in the garage, so no chance. But yes, you can check if the clown nose works well. Again, many people always say to me their clown nose ain't working. If your clown nose ain't working, you can use this to check if it's working and there's an error somewhere else. So that's another good thing as well with Inpa. Like I said, there's a lot to Inpa that you can do. If you go here and shift and do F9 as well, I'm just holding the shift button and we just click down here, F9. You can see there you got condensation from Rolls-Royce, MDA remote adapt initialization, SMG adaptation. That's for the M5s and E46 M3s. You can do all that as well. You can reset the adaptations there, SSG as well. And if we go Shift and F8, you will then have the older models. So you've got all your older models here as well. As you can see, E36, E38, E52, E31, E34, you have them all. So this can do every single car, but people make you believe it can't. It can. Obviously, if you just hold Shift, you get all your F-Series ones pop up as well. I have used this on the F-Series. It works really, really well. I've never had no issues using it on the F-Series or the E-Series. It's just about understanding how to use it. A lot of people get it and think, oh my God, they want Ester because they don't know how to use Inpa. Inpa is very straightforward. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to work it out. I'll go into the ECU as well here just to show you a brief demonstration of what it can do on the ECU. This gets very confusing for everyone because again, you see here, it's all in German. But down the bottom there, you can see everything clearly of what it means, and then you'll load it up. So you've got F8, adaptions, reset, and everything else. So you can reset the adaptions here. You can sync the EWS, sync the CAS as well, or with the ECU. The ECU is very, very critical with Impa because, as many of you guys know, on the E60s, E70s, E90s, DME, the CAS is all linked together. One goes out of alignment, puts them all out of alignment. Car won't start, you have no crank, no start, or your car will just be turned over. You'll kill your battery, same with the remote. that goes out of whack, it won't link with the CAS, therefore it won't start the car. All them three are linked together, so you have to bear that in mind. That's why they give you all these options to be able to resync them, because of course then that's going to happen. So if you've got Impa, you guys will know how to get your car back running. Many people don't, and many people don't know how to use it, but these are the options you have to be able to come into. But a lot of people don't get where to come when they have an issue. Obviously, me, I'm good at what I do. I know what I'm doing with the software, but obviously this software falls into the wrong hands, and then people end up messing up their cars. Ask me how I know. I get enough people all the time who have damaged their car, can't restart the car, tried to follow a video, programming their car, completely tore down the iDrive, then they're stuck in programming a bolt. They can't fix it because they don't have the right tools to do it. I know how to do it with a normal cable. Many people don't. They don't end up having an icon, and then they crap their pants because their car won't start after they've tried to program their car just to save a bit of money, which didn't work out very well for them in the end. That's why I always warn everybody, be careful with this software. Please, please, please take your time to understand it, because obviously it's not as straightforward as many people would like to make out. It takes a lot of time, a lot of getting used to, a lot of learning. I would learn on like an old car before plugging this up to your car. I'm quite lucky. I had a test bench, so I learned all on there on modules that weren't on a car. I managed to, master all this software on my own, and I've mastered it in such a way that I understand everything and how to get into everything properly. But it can take people years, especially if they've never really dealt with computers and they're not familiar with computers or the way software is laid out. It will take you a longer time, which is understandable. But yes, please be careful even with Impa, because you click the wrong thing on Impa. You've got to remember this is engineering. There is no revert where it'll go back. It's to guide you through everything in English. But this, you're just clicking, 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 and it's going to do it. It's not going to warn you beforehand, and even if it does, it's going to be in German. Everyone can't read German, and this cannot be translated to English. They have tried their best to try and get as much of it in English every time they release a new version of Impa, but majority of it, they just don't. They just leave it in German because most people understand it. So guys, we're just going to click end there. And so you get a drift of Impa. I don't need to really long this video off any longer than really needed. As I said, obviously everyone knows you can download this for free. Just please be careful when you're going to use it. That's all I'm trying to say to you. I'm not telling you not to use it. Please just understand with Impa, it's not like it's the way it's safe. It walks you through everything, tells you what to do. That's why they made that especially for the dealers. This is what they use in the factories when making the cars. And obviously, these are experts. They're highly trained. They know what they're doing in the factory. Okay. I used to use this a lot myself many, many years ago. And like I'm saying, it takes a lot of getting used to. It's not the kind of thing you can install. Just think, okay, reading error codes is fine. But if you want to dive in any deeper, doing what I do with it, you're going to need to really learn, because the moment you click, it's done. There is no, are you sure? Click next. This is going to do this. This is going to do that. You're on the option, you click it, it's going to do it, and that's it. There's no going back from that. Whatever you've clicked, whatever you've made come on, you ain't going to probably be able to turn off because it's in German and you're not going to know means what to turn what off. Or there's too many functions that you need to go into another module and flip to another one to be able to turn it off. So just be aware of that. So like I said, guys, I hope this video is going to help many of you with a good guide through Impa and actually understand it. Like I said, just be careful, take your time, get used to it, understand what you're doing, understand what you're clicking. That's more important than reading anything else. Just if you're not sure, don't click, because once you click, you can't revert. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.